Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning. So, figured I would do a quick little live stream, hit some bets, saw some pretty good plays, already locked in a few of them. So, let's just kind of go through it. And I've said this in other videos, but depending on the sports books you use, you're going to see maybe different bets than me. So, you're going to see there's 202 sports books available on OddsJam. The first play is available on FanDuel, and this play looks really, really good, right? So Fanny Stoller to win the first set at plus 210 odds. So all OddsJam is doing is like scanning through the market, pointing out value, stuff like that. But again, FanDuel may or may not be legal in your state. It's not legal where I'm currently located, so I'm not going to be able to place this bet. However, I will be able to place this bet on Fliff. So Fliff is a sports book that's legal in a lot of states. So you can see right here, right? We're getting this play at minus 115. Like, what's crazy about sports betting is the market is very fragmented. So what I mean by that is if you look up, the price of Facebook stock, if you go to Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood, you're going to see it's basically 302.52, right? There's no difference, maybe a little bit of fee differences between whichever platform you use to, trade stocks, but you're not going to get like 115, 185. So that's why sports betting is so profitable, is this market, is very inefficient or, has a lot of discrepancies, and discrepancies as a sharp bettor mean opportunity. So you're going to see, Johan Oviedo to go under 6.5 strikeouts. We're getting this play at minus 115 on Fliff. Other sports books have it around minus 150-ish. Pinnacle, sharpest sports book out there, known to be one of the sharpest bookmakers out there. They're pricing this at minus 186. So this is a no-brainer play. Unfortunately, I can't pull up Fliff on my computer, but I locked it in on my phone. So that'll be the first play we go with, right? And finding plays with an edge, winning long-term. It's pretty simple. Essentially, as a sharp bettor, you're day trading sports books. So what I mean by that is, imagine your friend said, hey, I don't want my Facebook stock anymore. I'll give it to you for $200. You would be like, give that to me in a heartbeat, because the market, the stock market prices are based on, supply and demand is priced at 302.52. This is where supply and demand is equal. And there are tons of smart people, hedge funds, trading firms, mutual funds who wake up every day and all they think about all day long is Facebook overvalued or undervalued? And this is the price, where it's currently trading. So basically, we're looking for value in the market. We're trying to get an edge. So what we can do is we can flip over to, and the general concept is pretty simple, just find value in the market. So many people, when they start out sports betting, just like I did when I started betting, gambling a long time ago, or playing poker, right? When I started playing poker in high school, you think, oh, I can just do random stuff and I'll win. But, there's a strategy. As a poker player, sometimes you get dealt 2-7, you're going to get crappy cards. But if you have an edge, if you understand the math, the strategy, you'll win long term. So it's the same thing in sports betting. So many people are like, oh, I'm going to create a better model than FanDuel Sportsbook that tells me how many bases a player is going to have. Right? It's no offense, FanDuel, FanDuel number of employees. This company has 1,500 employees. It's $1 billion company. You're not going to be able to create a better model than them. They have tons of engineers working on their ability to create models, set lines, the best data feeds, the best access to data. The way you find discrepancies is because this market's very fragmented. All these books set lines independently. You hunt for value. So Matt Chapman over 1.5 bases is plus 155 on FanDuel. All the other books are pricing it around, plus 125. So pretty clearly we're getting a good play with an edge. And this is just, from the positive EV tool. So what we can do is we can flip over to Underdog Fantasy, maybe PrizePicks. I mean, we can look at a few different platforms. I always recommend having as many platforms as possible. All these books have, new user sign-up bonuses. Hot Streak has a $200 deposit match. But anyways, what we can do is we can start out here on PrizePicks, and we can get it going and start looking for some plays. Oh my God. So you're going to see, this is why I decided to go live. There are a lot of lines available and a lot of big discrepancies. So look at this, right? You will never see this in the NBA. This only happens in esports. And the reason it happens in esports is, you look here at esports, there are literally dozens of games every day, thousands of different lines. Sports books, they all want to set lines independently. They all want to be unique. So pretty often we're able to catch them sleeping. We're able to catch them screwing up. Like, look at this discrepancy. I mean, it's literally insane. 13 is the line on Underdog. 18 is the half on 18.5 is the line on PrizePicks. So 5.5 kill discrepancy. So we want to take the over on Underdog, over 13, the under 18.5 on PrizePicks. And that's called a middle bet. And then we can see there's other plays here. So let's just, I'm trying to move quickly. So here I want to take the under, right? Underdog has his line at 17.5. And then here on PrizePicks, I want to take the over 15. So another huge line discrepancy, 2.5 points, right? You will never see an NBA player at 13 points on Underdog at 18.5 on PrizePicks. Like, this only happens in esports because the market is very inefficient. So look at these names, 9 Kiyotaka, and then we go to Chris Luck. So all sorts of interesting names. So then we look up this guy, Chris Luck. His line's 11.5 on Underdog, all 3 different games. And then on PrizePicks, it's 13.5. So we want to take the under. So now what you're going to notice is Underdog Fantasy, they give you a 6x payout for these 3-pick entries. PrizePicks is only a 5x payout. So PrizePicks is kind of a ripoff. So I have some strategy articles. I mean, if you want to learn how to bet on sports, make thousands of dollars a year, there are limitless videos. So I'm going to lock this in for $100. But long story short, like, you want to be placing 3-pick entries on Underdog Fantasy. You'll notice that's mainly what I'm giving out. But on PrizePicks, you don't, because they're giving you a crappy payout. So I do want to place these 3 bets, but I want to find some other picks to go with. So we found some pretty good discrepancies, but ideally we can find more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to go to Nisha, right? So here I want to take her under, and then I'm going to start building a new slip on Underdog Fantasy. Again, Underdog Fantasy, some of these really good opportunities, these really good lines, they're not going to last forever. So you want to move quickly, right? So I'm going to start building another middle, over 14, under 16.5. And then we can go here, Nightfall, right? So here we want to take the under again. So in general, we're just capitalizing on inefficiencies in the market. I'm not taking an opinion on like, how many kills is Nisha going to have? All I'm saying is, like, imagine Anthony Davis's rebound line was 13.5 on Underdog, 15.5 on PrizePicks. Take the under on PrizePicks, the over on Underdog Fantasy. If he has 14 or 15 rebounds, you'll win both bets. It's the same thing here, right? We're capitalizing on inefficiencies in the market. This is very different than just like, degenerate gambling. This is, day trading the sports books to take advantage. So what we can do, and we can see there's another one right here. So there's a fair amount of esports plays. So then we can go to this Bryle guy, over 12.5, right? So unfortunately in esports, you don't want to take players on opposing teams both to go over because it's negatively correlated. Well, what I would be taking is this, I think, right? So I would be taking Bryle over 11. So this actually works well, right? We're taking 2 players on opposing teams in esports. This is good. You want to take 1 player to go over, 1 to go under, right? And I'll explain that here in a second, but I'm going to lock in this slip. Hopefully you've been, building it along with me. And then on PrizePicks, I'm going to place a 6-pick entry. And again, I have tons of strategy articles, videos breaking down why you want to be placing, a certain amount of entries. Yo, what's up, guys? I have a bunch of videos breaking down how many plays you want to go with on each sports book. So like you can see right here, right? Like, you can go to this article. You can just type it into Google, how many picks to go with. It literally breaks down the math. You shouldn't be placing 2-pick entries. You shouldn't be placing 3-pick on PrizePicks. But regardless, you're going to see, really big opportunity we took advantage of, really big discrepancies. So in PrizePicks, I just decided to include all the plays in one slip, which works out better for us. So both of these plays are positively correlated, these two esports plays. And then here we have 9/13. I mean, this play is incredible, right? 9/13 under 18.5. Like if you didn't bet this, stop sports betting, because you're missing the entire point in like how big these discrepancies are. So another reason I like these middle plays in esports is, again, when you're betting on esports, right, there's just not a ton of books that post lines. So, right, if you look at esports, right, like there's a few sports books, Underdog Fantasy, PrizePicks, ParlayPlay sometimes post lines, but it's not a ton of different books, right? So it's not really clear, in terms of like clearly, if we go back to this play on 9, Underdog has the line at 13, right? PrizePicks has the line at 18.5, but it's not clear who's screwing up, right? It's not clear which play is profitable. We know there's a huge discrepancy, massive, but we don't know. I mean, my gut tells me I'm a lot more profitable on Underdog Fantasy as opposed to PrizePicks. So Underdog Fantasy is probably the side to be on if you were to only take one. And also, you'll notice this line, if you check, right before game time, this game starts at 9:45 a.m. If you check this at 9 a.m., I guarantee you this play will have gone away, right? Both sports books will adjust. Underdog Fantasy will realize it's sleeping, whatever. But the reason I like to middle in esports is, again, there's huge discrepancies. So there's a lot of opportunity, right? There's so many games. These sports books aren't that big of companies. It's 7:40 in the morning. Who even knows if anyone's working yet at PrizePicks? So, and they each are trying, their models are trying to spit out thousands and thousands of lines, and they can't keep everything in check. So all the fantasy optimizer is doing, right, is it's going to PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, reading in all the data and pointing out big discrepancies. Nothing complicated. It's taking the BS out of sports betting. It's just showing you value. And again, if you're still betting with your gut, if you still trust your gut, it's like, no offense, 99.9% of sports bettors trust their gut. They all lose money. They try to create their own models. That's not how you beat the books, right? How you beat the books is you realize, hey, I probably won't create a better model than FanDuel. Given it's a $1 billion company, and Caesars and DraftKings, they're $1 billion companies with a lot more money, a lot more engineers, a lot better data feeds. Probably won't beat them by creating my own little model or by doing my own little analytics stuff, right? The way you beat them is you say, okay, all these books set lines independently. They all have slightly different models. So you use their odds as information, right? So Caesar Sportsbook, for example, it's not a book that I can currently use. It's not legal in my location, but you're going to see, so damn. So I got a really good play on JockMKT. So take a look at this. So there's different tools on OddsJam. This is the sportsbook screen. So you're going to see on JockMKT, and again, my refer a friend code is just my name, Alex. If you don't have JockMKT, they have a $100 deposit match. And you're going to see right here, if we go to this player, Ranger Suarez. So let's go to strikeouts. You can put in any market you want. I mean, this view is, whatever. It's kind of cool. Some people like it. Some people don't. The sportsbook screen. I like it because, it's just showing you data. There's no BS. It's just showing you where sportsbooks have their line set. So if we pull up Ranger Suarez, you're going to see FanDuel has his line at 3.5. Pinnacle, again, Penny right here, known to be the sharpest bookmaker, they have the line at 3.5 with the under favored. And it seems like JockMKT has their line at 4. So that seems a little crazy. So what we can do is we can refresh this. And I can pull up JockMKT. So what's annoying about JockMKT is this is another one that Ranger Suarez. So what I can do is just go back here. Let me just refresh this. and I'll refresh this. So oftentimes, so Ranger Suarez. So you can see like, oh, there's an accent. So these two aren't merging. But all sports books have his line at 3.5, right? Check it out, right? Like all these books have his line at 3.5 strikeouts. Some have the under a little favored, right? DraftKings has the over a little favored. FanDuel, the over a little favored. This Odds Jam Algo Odds column is just a weighted average of all sports books in the market. But then you're going to see a lot of sports books, BetMGM, they have the under 3.5 favored. And JockMKT has their line higher at 4. So all these books are setting their line at 3.5 with the under favored, the over a little favored, whatever. JockMKT has their line at 4. So it's like, yeah, they're screwing up big time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to JockMKT and we'll load up another play, right? So what I'm going to take are 3 picks, right? So on JockMKT, you can do 3 pick entries. You can do 5 pick entries. They're pretty similar. Similar to Underdog Fantasy, they pay out 6x for these 3 pick entries. And I cashed yesterday. So I'm pretty happy about that. Cashed my 3 pick parlay on JockMKT yesterday. But what we can do is we can go here. I mean, now it's reloading. But what we want to do is we want to go to players. And we want to take Oviedo under 5.5. And it looks like they may have moved. So it looks like they moved him to 6 already. So I'm not going to be able to play that. But I definitely want to take advantage of this Ranger Suarez play. What could we take? So I try to look like for players on the same team. Maybe we skip over it for now. But long story short, you get Ranger Suarez is a really good play. It's just when you're playing on PrizePicks, what's a little annoying is, right, if you find one really good play you want to go with, like let's say this, is you can only place parlays on these platforms. You need at least 2 picks. Like I can't just bet on one player prop, which is obviously a little annoying. Whereas on FanDuel, you can. So a lot of people will ask me like, oh, why do you focus on, these parlay-only sports books? Do you just love parlays like, here? And it's like, no, that's not the reason. It's more just, based on where you're located. A lot of times these sports books are all that's available. So I'm currently in California. FanDuel's not legal. I love FanDuel. I bet on FanDuel all the time. I placed thousands of bets on FanDuel over the past, 5 or 6 years when I'm home in Virginia, whatever, when I previously worked in Pennsylvania. So you can see this line that we bet earlier, that I recommended earlier, it already moved to minus 120, right? We bet it at minus 115. So you can see there's some good plays, on FanDuel. So again, like a lot of people would be like, oh, so random. You have a soccer bet, right? But take a look at this, right? Like, I mean, granted, well, the game's tomorrow. If you want to bet on the Women's World Cup, I mean, this is clear as day, right? FanDuel is the only book with the over 1.5 for Denmark favored, right? You're not smarter than the sports books. That's once you understand you can't outmodel the sports books and your gut is not just going to like magically outsmart them and the rest of the market, and you start following the data, it becomes clear as day why this play is good, right? Like all the other sports books are pricing this around minus 130. FanDuel's at minus 102. We have 1, 2, 3 huge sports books. Pinnacle, known to be the sharpest bookmaker, they're all pricing this around minus 130. So the profit margin on your play is 4%, whatever. But again, you can see there's already some college football plays popping up. And again, you can track line movements. I'm not sure if lines have moved much. So it doesn't look like DraftKings has budged odds. But you can pull up line movements, just kind of by clicking on a little chart like this. And it'll just show you the line history, right? So you think about the price of a stock, right? So it looks like Caesars just dropped the odds on, Senga over 6.5 strikeouts from plus 115 to plus 100 59 minutes ago. Pretty interesting. So like, the same way it's like, Facebook stock, like if we go back there, if we go back here, right, like it went down 4% yesterday. Maybe some negative news came out about the company. Maybe, whatever, they didn't make as much money as they were expected to make. But it's the same thing in sports betting, right? Lineup changes, right? So let's say, I'm not sure who he pitches for, but let's say he's on the Red Sox. If the Mets are starting a bunch of players who, are more likely to strike out, then Cody Senga's strikeout line will move. So oftentimes, what I like to follow is Underdog. You'll often see there's really big line movements once official lineups are released, right? Because I don't know who the Astros were playing yesterday, but once they drop who their starting hitters are, that affects the opposing pitcher, his strikeout line, right? His earned runs line. All those things change. Player injuries, right? All these things move around lines. Weather changes. That affects the total. That affects strikeout lines. That affects home run lines. So a lot of people, they think this market is like static, but you can see odds are moving all the time, right? Like they're constantly changing. But what we can do is we can go back here. We can refresh this. And it looks like they got rid of that really good play on JockMKT anyway. So we can go over here. So one platform I definitely recommend, I signed up like probably 3 weeks ago, literally just to get their new user deposit match. And you can sign up again. My refer a friend codes are below. So, there are a lot of sports books I don't place a ton of bets on, but I sign up to take advantage of their promos. So like Sleeper, for example, haven't placed a ton of bets on this platform. I usually, there's just not a lot of value on the platform, right? Like I've said this a billion times, but as a sharp bettor, we're looking for value, right? On Sleeper, there's literally no plays in green. There's no profitable bets. I can almost never find really good plays on Sleeper, so I don't place a lot of bets on Sleeper. It's pretty simple. I'm not betting because I like the interface of an app. I'm betting because I'm trying to make money. However, I still have a Sleeper account. It took me 2 minutes to sign up. I signed up, put $100 in. Unlike Hot Streak, they give you a worse deposit match, $100. So instead of having a $200 deposit match on Hot Streak, it's $100. But still, it's a free $100, and I just take advantage of their promos, right? They run promos from time to time. So I put in $100. I basically have only placed bets on promos, which you can see here when they like Taco Tuesday type thing on PrizePicks. And I've already, almost 3x'd my money, only placing like $20 bets and just taking advantage of their promos. So this Hot Streak sportsbook, which we're currently on, you can see here, what's cool about them is every single hour they run odds boosts, right? They run promotions. So currently they're boosting this guy. I mean, they're literally telling you that it's a promo, right? They're showing you, hey, they're telling us this play is 9% EV. So they're saying they're boosting it to be 9% profitable. A lot of sports books run these boosted odds. And what we can do is we can go over here. According to OddsJam, it's 10.4% profitable, but whatever, roughly the same. And it should make sense why it's so good, right? Again, it's pretty simple. Hot Streak is pricing this at plus 230. Maybe you don't know anything about baseball, but it doesn't matter because guess what? FanDuel knows more about baseball than you. Their models are better than you. If you've never watched a game of baseball in your life, if you watch every baseball game ever, right? Their lines are better than what you can predict. And they're pricing this at plus 140, literally 90 cents, 90 points below what Hot Streak is, right? DraftKings plus 185. So it's really clear that this has crazy value. And I mean, really, that's all we're looking for as a sports bettor. Or what we could take instead is we could take Renfro. So you can see they're running a different odds boost. And they change their odds boost that they're running every single hour. So currently it's, Renfro over half of a hit, and Alex Krylov, it looks like over half of an RBI. But what we can do is we can just find some, a good pair for it. So here, Hunter Renfro, over half of a hit, minus 129 on Hot Streak. Other books have this closer to minus 200, right? FanDuel has this minus 185, DraftKings minus 190. I mean, it's clear as day that this is a good play to go with. So I'm just going to pair it with Brianna Stort. This play's a little bad. It's in red, negative 1.2%. But on Hot Streak, it's kind of like those other platforms. You need at least 2 bets in your entry. So I'll pull up Brianna Stort. I'll go to her over 9.5 rebounds. And again, it's a little unprofitable, negative 0.12%, right? But this play is 8.17% profitable. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to find a second pick, move quickly, and, you know, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and place it for 10 bucks. So you can see here's my entry. Pretty simple stuff. And then we can go back here. And so we locked in a profitable play on Hot Streak. And again, this is why you want to have as many sports books as possible. I can't stress it enough. Hot Streak runs promos every hour. Every single hour, they have a different promo that you can bet for $10. So you're going to see my Hot Streak account. I put in, I think, $1,000 total. I'm already at 1545. Or I actually think I only put in 500 total. Regardless, I'm crushing them. I'm basically, you know, most of the time betting just these $10 odds boosts, right? So here you may be like, oh, you're an idiot. You lost 4 plays in a row. That's $40. We're placing parlays, right? The payout here is 57.30. So sure, I lose 40 and then I go up 57.30. Net profit of 17.30. Now I lost another net profit of 7.30, right? And then it goes up again. Now it's like net profit of 60. Hey, then you lost. You're an idiot. No, you know, still profitable net profit. And then, you know, a huge win here with the 664. But anyways, we can go back here. You know, if you learn anything from these videos, every sports book is a data point, right? Whatever book you're betting on, right? Like if you want to actually make money long term, whether you're betting on parlays, whether you're betting on DraftKings, Caesars, you know, Betway, whatever, Hot Streak, is you need to find value. I would love to bet this play on FanDuel. FanDuel's giving me plus 155 odds, right? Every other book is telling me this should be around plus 120. It's clear as dead, right? Clear as dead. So all these sports books, really sophisticated models, they're taking bets, right? Moving around lines due to supply and demand, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, but, you know, they don't know what I know about sports. But you got to remember, sportsbook odds are based on what everyone else is betting. Just like the price of a stock is based on supply and demand. If everyone decides to buy Facebook today, demand is high, the price goes up. If everyone decides to, let's say, you know, bet on, you know, this guy's under, sportsbooks are going to move lines towards his under. That's what causes lines to move. So, you know, this is called line movement in sports betting, but it's basically the same thing. So you're going to see Caesars moved his odds from plus 120 to plus 115. So who knows? Maybe they were getting a little bit more action on the over as opposed to the under. So they decided to move odds a bit down from plus 120 to plus 115. So literally, if you're betting with your gut, you not only assume you are smarter than the sports books who have, you know, billion-dollar companies, really sophisticated models, you're assuming you're smarter than everyone else, right? Because sportsbook lines are based on supply and demand. If we all go and we all place $1 million on Matt Chapman over 1.5 bases, sportsbooks are going to reduce the odds, right? And they're going to make the odds on the under better, right? It's just like if every hedge fund goes and buys Facebook, the price will go up. So mathematical sports betting. And again, we have videos about how you can back out your profit margin, stuff like that. You know, it's called your edge in sports betting. But what's really amazing about sports betting, the reason I love it so much is, you know, your returns are daily, right? So this MLB game is today. So, you know, just think about it. There's 162 games in the MLB regular season. If you can figure out even how to get a 1% profit margin on your bets over the course of the regular season, that's an 162% ROI. Pretty good, right? Pretty dang good, if you ask me. So that's what's really powerful about sports betting is your returns are daily. You earn 1% ROI on your bets. That's 30% a month. And it's all based in data, right? So some bets are going to win, some are going to lose. But when you have an edge, you win long term. Pretty simple concept. So you can see there's some good plays on DraftKings. Minnesota Twins first half money line, although it looks like they moved it. Again, these lines move quick. DraftKings moved the odds up to minus 150, which was way out of line with the market. All the other books had this around minus 185. They had it minus 150. I assume short bettors started to bet it, and they ripped it back down to minus 175. So, you know, again, like no bet is a lock. So you want to place as many bets as possible. It's like being the best poker player in the world. You don't go to the table, and if you get 2-7 first hand, then you leave, right? Like you want to place as many bets as possible, right? You'll still have some losing streaks, some winning streaks, whatever, right? There's no magic going on. But when you're finding plays where the profit margin is positive, which OddsJam, again, is literally just, scanning tens of thousands of lines from each sports book, millions of odds total every second, just to point out value to you in the market. So we can go back here and we can head over to whatever, JockMKT, ParlayPlay, see if there's any plays we want to go with. So we can go back to Underdog. We can see if there's any massive Dota discrepancies still. Oh my God. Is this play still available? It's literally insane that this is still available. But it's annoying. Again, like a lot of people ask, like, shouldn't sportsbooks learn how to fix their lines? And it's like at the end of the day, at the end of the day, they don't have that much downside. The max I can bet is $100 on esports plays, right? So they're going to tell me, hey, you hit your betting limit. So at the end of the day, they know most of their customers are pretty clueless, right? So they don't really care if the few people who figure out how to make $10,000 off them a year, $20,000 are betting, because again, they can just, your max bet size is $100. That's why sports betting, I always say, isn't like, it's not scalable, right? It's not like as my bankroll grows, I can start betting $10,000 on underdog fantasy plays. You're kind of capped. So what we can do is we can, can't believe some of these plays are still available, but pretty crazy middles out there. So you can see another one, WNBA. Underdog has Natasha Cloud's line at 14. Sportsbooks have her line at 13.5 or 12.5, right? FanDuel has her line at 13.5. DraftKings has her line at 12.5. I mean, clearly pretty good value. But anyways, it's early in the morning. I know this live stream, it doesn't have a bunch of people watching, but hopefully this video, was helpful. I'm sure I'll be on live later. Hopefully you got some of the plays on PrizePicks Underdog, and let's make some money.